Right, so you're coming off a tough loss to the Packers. You guys fell behind early on, Dak. You mounted a big comeback late. You gave yourself a shot. As you look back on that game, what kind of thoughts do you have?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough one. We played a good Packers team, as you said right there. When you play a good team like that, you can't get yourself down like we did right there, going down 21 points earlier, 24 points, and then just having to fight back the whole game. We put ourselves in a hole against a good team. You don't give yourself a chance like that. So we'll bounce back from it. We'll learn from it, and we'll become a better team.
We were talking to Dak Prescott. Now, Dak, from the outside, at least from the outside, the offense seems to feel a bit different this year with Kellen Moore. How different does it feel to you on the inside?
I mean, it's different, but we're definitely doing the things that we've done in the past that we're good at. And that's what's great about Kellen Moore, is that he has ways of disguising it with our alignment or with motions. But in all that being said, we're going to get to the plays that we're comfortable in doing. We're going to get to the plays that we've been good at. And it starts with running the ball, and that's just who we are.
We're talking to Dak Prescott. You know, Dak, you mentioned that when something like that happens, that game against Green Bay, you want to put that behind you as quickly as possible. And you've always been a guy, and I want to touch on this in a minute, but you've never gotten too high or gotten too low no matter what's happening. So how do you quickly go about trying to get a game like that out of your system and then start focusing on the Jets on Sunday? How does that work?
Just like you said, I mean, you want to put it behind you. You want to put it behind you quick, and you have to. This is a long season. We have a lot of ball left to play. We've got a good team. We've got to play this week in the Jets, so we can't sit there and dwell on that loss. But for me, you just want to get out there and you're anxious to put your next performance on tape. But so you have to just make sure that you stay in the now. You don't get too high and you don't get too low. You stay in and take it day by day. Don't forget the preparation that it takes to lead up to that next game. And just know you got to come back with a strong performance that next time.
Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is joining us. Now, you and I have talked a number of times over the years, lots of times. In fact, how different are you as a quarterback now than when you first came into the league? And what are the areas where you notice the biggest difference?
Yeah, I've definitely grown. And that's something when I look back at my tape, and you're always self-evaluating and learning from, something I'm proud of, but definitely my footwork, first and foremost, just from dropping back from under center, being able to put myself in the position to make every throw on the field, and then just consistently getting accurate and focusing on that. I think when those things improve at the quarterback position, everything else falls in place.
You know, Dak, correct me if I'm wrong, but for somebody listening, footwork does not sound like it's that exciting of a thing or that big of a thing, but what have you done to work on it, and how big of a difference does it make to your game?
Yeah, it's very important, but it makes a huge difference. I mean, you look at the numbers and you look at the completion percentage goes up, and it's a tell of that. And it's the people that I work with and the coaches that are pushing me, and I give them a lot of credit. But when you're able to put yourself in a position to make the throw, you give yourself a better chance, and it starts with the footwork.
Talking to Dak Prescott. Now, guys around you have been talking about how you've always been a leader, but there's this element where you're even more stern now and that you'll let guys know what you expect of them. Is this how you're approaching it? Like, you're going to let guys know about it when they're not meeting expectations? I mean, you'll let them know when they do something right, but if they don't do something right, will you let them hear it now?
Yeah, sure, and I would hope they do the same for me. But that just creates that level of trust and that level of camaraderie or whatever, that focus on that teammate. And that just allows us to just come together and not focus on the flaws and not focus on the bad things, but to be able to confront each other on the good, confront each other, and just put it behind us so we can make sure that we get better. And we have a lot of teammates that accept that. So if we can just hold each other accountable that way, it allows for a healthy relationship and a healthy locker room, and that's what we have.
Yeah, Dak, I've done this a long time, and I've talked to everybody in your position prior to this since I've done this, but I asked the same question. When you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, you're always going to be in the spotlight. That's a really different gig. I mean, that's like being shortstop of the Yankees. A lot of guys think they can handle it, but ultimately they get there and they find out it's not what they thought. How do you go about handling it?
Yeah, I just focus on the things I can control. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. If I can just focus on that, give all my attention, and right now that's being the quarterback of this team and focusing on the locker room and the things that we have to do to get better on the field. I can't focus this team, me as the quarterback. You can't focus on the outside noise, whether it's good or bad. You just have to know what's important.
How do you do that? I mean, is that just a conscious decision? Dak, for instance, when you guys were 3-0, there was so much hype, and then you lose a couple of games and everybody's coming for you. But like I said, you and I have been talking, going back to your time at Mississippi State. You've always had a really good grasp on this. How do you go about not getting too high or too low?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I focus on the things I can control. All I can control is me moving forward and putting this loss behind me, and just knowing that I'm gonna come back and we're gonna be a better team this Sunday. And it's tough when you give your focus to the outside world. You lose distraction on what's important, and you lose distraction on being that teammate or being that team that you need to be. And when you're the Cowboys, as you said, it's even more focused on that. So I think that just allows us to come together, lock arms closer, and just know that the only thing that matters is what we do and what we focus on as a team and in that locker room.
And then, Dak, one more thing about that. Like, when it comes to the contract, is that the same as everything else? Is that just more noise? Or if you show up every single day and somebody says, where does that stand? And if you show up every week and somebody says, well, his price went up or his price went down, is that something different than everything else?
No, it's not. Once again, it's noise. There's only a few people that know what's going on with that and where that is, the progress we've made and everything. So I'm not necessarily focused on that or listening to what people say. And that just goes in that same category as noise. It's the outside world. It can't do anything for this team, and it can't do anything for me getting better on the field.
And then, Dak, you get back to your roots. Like, over the summer, you had a number of football camps for kids. What's it like when you show up and these kids are there and they're wearing your shirt and they've got your name on it and they've got your number and they're looking to meet you? They want to spend time with you. What's that feel like?
Yeah, it's a real moment. It makes you flash back to those times when you're a little boy, you're in middle school, and you're playing in the yard, playing with your buddies, and you're imagining you're those quarterbacks that are in the NFL. And for me, that was the Peyton Manning, the Michael Vick. So now to be able to hold those camps and see those kids, imagining that they're me, as you said, wearing my jerseys, just a surreal moment. Just allows me to be makes me even be more humble, and just thankful for the position that I have.